From one really good week to a week that just did not go any way as planned. Week 6 is a wrap. Come along with us as we go day by day and share our preschooling, homeschooling journey with you. Welcome back, everyone, or welcome to our channel. We are going to be breaking down week 6 of our preschooling, homeschooling journey with our 4-year-old. This week was quite the week. It definitely did not go as planned. We're going to actually start on a Saturday this week, talking about a field trip we did over the weekend, and just going through how completely chaotic this homeschooling week was. So let's go ahead and break it down day by day. So if you watched last week, you remember me mentioning that we were going to be taking a field trip or two over the weekend while we were up north for mine and Clay's anniversary. We did only end up doing the one spot. We did go to Tahquamenon Falls, and we had a ton of fun. Both the girls absolutely loved walking through the woods, seeing the fall colors, seeing the falls. Charlie asked if we could go back, so that made me feel good as well. And we just spent pretty much half a day there. It started to rain, so we left a little bit earlier, but we just had a ton of fun, and it was a great experience, especially tying it into the All About Michigan history lesson so that she could make that picture in the book come alive while seeing the falls. So that was a fun family day. We had so much fun, and it was such nice weather. It was only supposed to be like a high of 70s that day. It ended up being like 80 some. So it was a nice day to just be out in nature, and we all had a lot of fun. Now here is where things get chaotic. So Monday is usually our history lesson day. We were still up at my parents' cabin for our anniversary. Originally, when I had asked Charlie when we were packing and getting ready to go, if she wanted to do school up at the cabin, and she had said yes, so I'd packed the lesson for the day. We were supposed to learn about the differences between school, long ago versus modern times. And as soon as we sat down to do it, she decided she didn't want to do it. And you know what? We were still kind of on vacation, so I was like, you know what? No big deal. Like, we can do it tomorrow, or we can do it, over the weekend, whatever you want. So we just decided to take Monday off, and we didn't end up doing the lesson. But the problem with that is come Tuesday, when it was supposed to be our literacy, reading, and writing day, once again, she did not want to do school. At first, I thought it was just she just didn't want to do it in the morning. She said, well, let's do it after lunch. I'm like, okay, that's fine. We can do it after lunch. And then lunch came and went, and she still didn't want to do it. And then dinner came and went. I was like, okay, well, what about if dad does it instead of mom? And we ended up taking Tuesday off as well, because it was just one of those things where I didn't want to fight over it. And so I was like, all right, fine, but if we don't do it today, that means we're 2 lessons behind. So we're probably going to have to do at least 2 lessons tomorrow. So we skipped Tuesday as well. And to keep up with week 6 chaotic energy, Wednesday comes around, which is usually our math day. I asked her, of the 3 lessons we have to do still yet this week, which lesson would you like to do? Originally, she was like, let's do reading and writing, which surprised me because of the 3 topics, that's probably her least favorite. But she'd heard that there was a craft along with it, so she wanted to do that. But things were a little bit chaotic on Wednesday. We had appointments, there was just a lot going on, so it didn't end up happening because we were going to do it after lunch, and then things kind of picked up. Part of it was I totally forgot on Wednesday as well. We ended up taking Wednesday off as well. So then comes Thursday, which is usually our science day. I sit down, I'm like, you know what, you love science, let's do science. Realized I completely forgot to get the apples we needed for the science experiment. So I was like, okay, well, I guess we're not doing science today. We'll have to do science tomorrow. So I asked her again, which other topic do you want to do then? Again, surprisingly, she chose reading and writing. Again, I think it was because we had crafts involved. So we did. So we finally got a lesson done on Thursday. We practiced our letters. I and J. So we did a I is for ice cream and a J is for jellyfish craft. And then she also practiced writing, which I learned she is phenomenal at writing her I's and J's, which I knew I's because that is in her name. So she's always writing her name out. But that was the first time I've seen her write J's, and she did so well. I was so proud of her. She did a phenomenal job. And then actually she wanted to work in the Hooked on Phonics books as well. So we started working in the Hooked on Phonics workbooks, and she was doing really good. We kind of got derailed a little bit because the one book that was the next step in the workbook, we actually couldn't find. I had just had it and it got lost. So then that was kind of when she lost interest in school, which was totally fine because we did some extra things that day. She didn't end up wanting to color her jellyfish, but we put it together, and she did ask if we could do painting next week. So I've got painting crafts on the books for next week. So finally Thursday, and it was a really successful reading and writing lesson as well. So I was very, very happy with that. So now Friday's finally rolled around. We did get the apples Thursday night. So we started the morning doing our science experiment, which was a huge hit, which I was not surprised on. It was very similar to our 5 senses activity that she really, truly enjoyed, but just with the 5 different kinds of apples. So I was not surprised how much she enjoyed it. We talked about the taste, the color, whether it was juicy or crunchy, and it compared sizes as well. So yeah, so she had a lot of fun with that. And then we just went straight into our craft, because Fridays usually are arts and crafts day. Which was creating an apple where the seeds are the letters of her name. I will say it was a very cute craft, but if you have a long named kid, I don't know how, you would have to probably do smaller seeds or something, but thankfully her name fit perfectly on her apple. I guess you could make the apple bigger, but I did use a template for it. But yeah, so she loved that. The craft turned out really, really cute. We were both really excited about it. So Friday was a win with both science and arts and crafts. And at this point in time, we still had math and history we had not done yet. So I was like, okay, do you want to try to shove it all in one day? Do you want to do it? Usually we take the weekends off, but do you want to do it on Saturday? Maybe we just skip those lessons entirely. I don't know. But yeah, at least Friday went extremely well. Now, I am actually recording this on a Saturday, and we actually did do our history and our math lesson this morning. So we did end up getting all 5 of our lessons in this week, just in a very chaotic way. So I asked her this morning if we could, if she wanted to finish up the last 2 lessons. I said, they're smaller lessons, they're quick lessons. Why don't we just take a look at them? And if you don't want to do them, we don't do them. But she did end up doing them with me. So we started with our history lesson, which was schools long ago versus today. So we compared what a modern school looks like versus, the one-room schoolhouses back in the day. And then I also talked to her about how, obviously our school is different too, because we're homeschooling, and, how that looks different as well. And she followed along, but I could tell she wasn't 100% interested in it. But I will say I was such a proud mom moment. One of the pictures I had was the horse and buggy, because where I was explaining, back in the day, they rode horse and buggy to school. Now there's school buses. And when I held up the horse and buggy, she goes, yeah, but those aren't very safe. And I was like, yeah, they definitely can be, less safe, especially nowadays with modern cars on the road. And she goes, I remember that from my last history lesson. And that made me so proud, because she was remembering from when we talked about transportation. I explained how we used to do horse and buggy, but we realized that they weren't, always the safest thing to travel in. So that's why we ended up making cars. And so it was definitely a proud mama moment there. And then we continued on into math, which was another nice, easy, short lesson where we just organized her toys into sizes. So big, medium, and small. And so we had fun with that. And she knows big, medium, and small. We did that with the apples. So I knew she kind of already knew it. So I knew this lesson was going to go quick. Obviously the math was supposed to come before the science. So it was kind of supposed to be like a intro to the part in the science lesson as well. But yes, we played with that, or did that a little bit. And then, yeah, I was just happy that we got all 5 lessons in this week. So this week, my goodness, I would say, I don't want to necessarily say it was just full of flops, but it was more of just, I think taking that vacation, going up to the cabin, and then being like, oh yeah, we're on vacation, we don't need to do school Monday. I definitely think that set a tone that I wasn't wanting to set, especially, not us ending up not doing it on Tuesday and Wednesday. But I think that is the beauty of homeschool, is that it's totally okay. We don't have to be structured where you have to do school, Monday through Friday. We can do school whenever. We can do multiple lessons in a day if we want. I thought she would prefer mini lessons Monday through Friday versus longer, like having a longer school day, less days a week. Because most of our lessons are usually between like 15 and 30 minutes long. Like our science lessons with the experiments usually take longer because she's having so much fun. But like our history lesson this morning, I think like took 10-15 minutes. So yeah, it was just one of those chaotic school weeks. But overall, I think it was okay. It was a little stressful in the beginning of the week because I'm going, oh my gosh, like, do I just skip these lessons? What do I do? Do I try to fit them in? Do I, convince her to do it? That kind of thing. But I think it all worked out where she got the break she needed and we still got the lessons done. And obviously the biggest win of this week was that science lesson. Like I said, I totally figured apples are her favorite fruit. So she had a whole lot of fun tasting 5 different varieties of apples, because we usually only buy the one. So she got to try 4 different other kinds, and she had a lot of fun with that. And then she did the worksheet so well too that went along with it. So yeah, it was just a great lesson, a very nice interactive lesson, and she kept telling everybody about it later in the day. So it definitely was the biggest. And real quick before I end this video, I did forget to mention where each lesson came from. So the history lesson, the schools long ago versus today, was just a quick, hey Google, what's a good history lesson? I did create it. I didn't create the pictures, but I took pictures from Canva, printed them, and then I also just created the worksheet so she could organize it. If you're interested in that link, I will link it down below so that you have the public view of my Canva pages so that you can print that off for your own use if you would like. The literacy, the reading and writing obviously came from Hooked on Phonics. The math lesson was again another what's a good math lesson to teach a preschooler. So I just created the big letters for small, medium, big, printed those out, and then we just talked about the sizes and then organized her toys by size. The science lesson again was just another what's a good science lesson for the fall time, and with apples being ripe for the picking right now, it was a good lesson. So the worksheet I did create myself as well in Canva. Again, that'll be linked below in the description so that you can have that public view link. So if you want to print it off and do the apple activity with your kid as well, you can. And then the craft came from Pinterest. And I can't remember with the template, if the template was on Pinterest or not. Wherever I got that template from for cutting out the pieces, I will also link that below so that you have that template for your own homeschooling needs as well. So if you are a homeschooling parent as well, let us know how your week went. Was your week as chaotic as ours, or did you have a good week? Let us know what lessons you did in the comments below. We would love to hear from you. As always, if you like this video, don't forget to hit like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so that you do not miss our weekly recap videos. As always, thank you all so much for watching. We appreciate the love and support more than you can imagine. That is all we have for today. We hope you have a fantastic day. See you next time.